On today's show, we have a fun little game in which we get the most popular questions about trip planning, and we try to answer them as best as we know how. That's coming up today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 423 of Traveling with the Mouse. I am your host for this week. My name is John, and I am joined, as always, by Adam.
What's up, everybody?
How are you doing today, Adam?
Wonderful.
Just wonderful. So it is the original dynamic duo once again this week. We decided to let, AI take over, which they're slowly but surely doing, I guess.
Yeah, it's just part of it now, part of life.
Well, we can get some good recommendations sometimes from ChatGPT.
But it's probably a subject we haven't touched on as much lately, so I think this might be a good episode.
Yeah, I'll bring out a few things regarding trip planning somewhat.
I thought it might be a good time to address some common questions that people have if they're planning a Disney trip. The holidays are coming up, so maybe, folks are thinking about a Thanksgiving or Christmas or next year when the dining plan returns, because that apparently is one of the most Googled things about Disney World in 2024 is the dining plan.
Well, I definitely have some thoughts on it, so.
Yeah. Well, we can go through some of these. Some of these are very, loaded questions, and there's a lot in there. But this is one we've talked about before. But if you're new to the show, or if you know somebody who's, thinking about it or thinking about planning a trip or something, these are kind of questions that are more general. And this is one: when is the best time to visit Walt Disney World? There's a lot of opinions on that.
That is such a good question, and I'm so glad you asked, because their answer is no.
The answer is just no.
Yeah, it's just no. Or actually, the way people normally phrase that, not the best time to visit, they phrase that as in best time as in when's the slowest time to visit.
Right.
And that doesn't really exist. That's like throwing a dart at a dartboard now.
Yeah.
To find it, because it's not seasons anymore; it's days.
True. However, September is consistently probably the lowest crowd month.
Even though it's not what it used to be.
Not what it used to be, but this September was pretty low from what I could see.
Well, this holiday season will probably be pretty low.
Yeah. It seems like things are light. Disney, when they throw out discounts, like as many as they've thrown out, there's definitely a low in the resorts in particular. They haven't done ticket deals. Well, actually, no, they did a ticket deal, didn't they, for Florida residents?
Yeah.
So I guess they are.
They did one back in the summer.
Yeah, the summer was a great one. I'm talking about now, I'm trying to think, but I think they did do a fall one for Florida residents, like a weekday one. Late April is always good too, because it's like post spring break but pre-summer. Even though summer to me is a great time to go, the crowds were very low this summer.
The only thing people don't like about the summer, of course, is the weather, the
excessive heat, and then thunderstorms every day.
But the thing is, I feel of all the places you can go in which you can avoid the heat, I mean, most of the attractions are indoors, right?
Yeah.
So
I love going in the summer, to be honest, because you're out of school. Like, you don't have to worry about kids' schedules as much.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. And yes, it's hot, but it's hot everywhere in June, July. Like, it's hot everywhere. So
yeah, you get better hours usually.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to rain, but the rain cools things off. And it's, as long as you can dodge it and get indoors somewhere or take a break, eat at a restaurant, something like that. You come out and it's cool off.
I thought not this past one, but in 2022 anyway. I don't know if that was typical, but we went over MLK weekend, and I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
For a holiday weekend.
January is not bad. February, March, April, early April. That's kind of the spring break season, March, April, but late April.
Right after spring break, crowds are done. That's like one of the slowest weeks.
Yeah.
The thing is, they don't know when the crowds are officially done, so they usually still have some later hours during that time too, which can be advantageous if you can hit it just right.
Yeah. So the other piece to that is, when is the best time to visit? It really depends on your preference. Like, do you like cooler weather? Then you love the holidays? Like, Christmas is a great time to go.
I would say leading into maybe the weekend before Thanksgiving is usually pretty light.
Yeah, and then after too.
Well, after, I think it starts kind of
early December.
Yeah, early December, like the first week of December, or maybe the second week of December. First week probably better, more so than the other one. It's usually light.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on your preference.
But there's no guarantee anymore. That's the thing. It used to be almost automatic. If you went during this time of year, it was not going to be that busy. And late September was one of those times. But with Food and Wine full force, people love going to that. Parties. Halloween parties going since August at that point.
Right.
It's really affected the overall crowds. This year is not a very good one to compare it to. So I think a lot of what's happening now is you're starting to see the effects of economic factors are probably playing more of a role than the fact that the 50th didn't exactly leave a good taste in a lot of people's mouth. Also, is factoring in, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think that has something to do with it.
Epcot's had a wall around it for 5 years or whatever.
Right.
That must have been the wall Trump was talking about. It's there.
Was it? Did Mexico pay for it?
I don't know. Pay for it? You could ask. Yeah. Well, you probably did if they used the funds from La Cava.
Yeah, I helped pay for that wall. Sorry, guys.
The wall's been up there since what? It's been up there since 2020, right?
At least, yeah. Maybe even
it's been
before.
Up there 3 years now. I don't think it was up there in 19. I don't think.
I don't remember when they did the construction pit.
But they've just now got one of the attractions open. Or it's not even open yet, right? It's about to be.
Yeah, it opens like the 16th.
Speaking of which, isn't Indy out now?
On Disney Plus?
Yeah. I haven't watched it yet.
You should watch it.
Well, I will, but I just haven't yet.
We should do a review of it when you finally watch it.
Yeah. Well, I finally watched Ahsoka all the way up until the most recent episode.
Yeah, you got ahead of me because I haven't, the last couple of weeks, I haven't had a chance to watch it. So I got to catch up.
Well, I had an opportunity to just kind of sit down, and when I started it, I watched like all of the ones I had not seen, like all in a row pretty much. So
it got better. It definitely got better. The first couple were a little slow, but it built pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a compelling story. That's the best way. Yeah. It's entertaining.
I like it.
What you asked for.
Maybe we'll talk more about those in the coming weeks.
On the Disney Plus point, right quick.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to watch Elemental yet?
I have not. My kids did the other night, and they liked it a lot.
Yeah.
We've been out of town all the time the last few.
Yeah, you have been a good bit.
Yeah.
So there was two though recently that came. Oh yeah, it was the other one that got a lot of views was the Little Mermaid, which I know you'd already seen.
I haven't seen the whole thing. No.
No, I thought you had.
My son did, and he loved it.
Okay.
They see way more than I get to see.
Right. Well, that's understandable.
Yes. All right. Next question.
Okay.
How many days should I spend at each park? I get this question all the time, by the way. A lot of people ask me this.
It kind of depends on how many times you've been there. I would say, I got to be honest, I would say probably not even a whole day at each park if you've been there before. That's just my thinking. I would say about one each most of the time is sufficient. You might want to go back to one that has more stuff in it, maybe like Magic Kingdom if you're trying to hit everything.
Yeah.
But
I usually say it depends on how hard you want to hit it. Like if you want to go from rope to rope, then 4 days is more than enough. 1 day at each park. A lot of people ask me in the term of like, how many days do you need to do Disney so I can also do Universal? So it's like I'm trying to do like a 5-6 days,
that's
full
still
week.
tough.
How
If
many
you,
days do I need Disney, right?
I think that's still tough because you're still going to have to hit just highlights. You're not going to hit everything.
Yeah. And that's what I say is like, well, if you just want to get most of it in, you should probably plan for a day at each Disney park. There's some like Animal Kingdom, you wouldn't have to spend a whole day there
Right.
if you didn't want to.
Like for me personally, I have employed the strategy at least twice now of stacking lightning lanes and going in the afternoon and the evening. I have employed that strategy at least 2 times, and I actually I actually did everything I wanted to do each time. So
Yeah. I did that back before you could mod lightning lanes. And now that you can, it just depends. Like it depends on the time of year and stuff like that. I like the stacking and going later in the day. That helps you sleep in. But I also like the just get there early and tap, grab, modify lighting lanes and just get done
yeah,
as early as you can too.
well, that's kind
And
of set
just
this last Hollywood Studios one that I did. I kind of set a base plan, but I modified once I was there because I needed to move stuff up, right, to make it work better. So
you can also do the opposite, which if you're stacking, you can just modify later. That's the other thing.
right.
Just grab whatever you can get and then move it later as the day goes on if you need to. But yeah, there's lots of ways to do it.
And always remember, if you're in an attraction that has 2 taps, you need to wait till you're at the second tap before you try to get another one. In some cases,
And that's the thing. It's hard to
hard to remember.
to tell. Some do, some don't. So that's a good point. Like Test Track is one where sometimes you might be at the second tap longer than you need to be.
You might be like, but you may be like, why can't I pick another one? They lied.
Yeah, sometimes
there's another
you
tap.
have to. Right, you have to do the second tap. That's a good point. Good tip. All right, another common question: what resort should I stay at, or where should I stay? And, this is a whole nother loaded question. There's lots in here.
And that's also a matter of what do you like?
Right. It used to be, we'll definitely stay on property and then go with budget because property gives you all these benefits. Now, I would say the benefits don't really outweigh the price. I think price is probably is now the biggest factor. So, what price point are you okay with?
Right.
And then go with, if the Disney resorts aren't discounting currently,
right,
or in this current season, go with a good neighbor like the Hilton's.
right.
Disney Springs, is it Best Western? What's the other one?
It was Best Western. It's something else now. What's it called?
Okay. What's the
I
other
think
ones?
that's the one that converted to, gosh, what was that one that opened not too long ago?
There's a DoubleTree, DoubleTree that I stayed at. It's good too, right by Disney Springs. All of those, I would say, I used to would say Swan Dolphin, but the Swan and Dolphin aren't great deals anymore ever since Swan Reserve opened.
And it's not a good value for what you're getting, right?
Yeah, Dolphin especially because still have the double beds. But if you have a bunch of Marriott points, though, you could use them at Swan Reserve or the Swan and get a better room. But
speaking of the resorts, though, have you looked at a video of someone in the new Little Mermaid theme rooms at Caribbean?
No, I haven't seen it at Caribbean, no.
Remember, because they converted the pirate rooms, so we're converting the pirate rooms to Little Mermaid theme rooms.
And do you like them?
It's different than obviously what they were at Art of Animation, right? As far as the style and everything. You have a little bit more space to work with, too.
Yeah.
Not much, don't get me wrong. There's a little bit more space.
They're not huge.
But when they converted these rooms, the one I saw, they definitely made, more use of the space that they had, right? So they had converted it to one of those things where you have the one full queen, right? And then you have the pull-down queen. Then you also have the pull-down bed under the television,
dresser thing,
right?
to under TV.
But the way they did it, the area that has like this footstool and then where the pull-down bed is, there's a small area right next to it that, of course, has a door that for the adjoining rooms. The one I saw, it's a very small area. But it leaves enough of a gap to put like that footstool or something like that if you want to park something over there. But when you're taking existing rooms and you're redoing them, you're still limited into what you can do. I mean, you have the space that's there is the space that you're dealing with, right?
Right.
But they did a good job of making it it's like lightly mermaid themed. It's not as heavily themed, I would say, as the Art of Animation. This was more one of those things like, think along the lines of when they say Princess and the Frog is over at Riverside, right? How lightly themed that really is. Think along those terms. I mean, you do have things like...
Oh, okay. I'm looking now.
You're looking at it? Yeah. You can tell it's a Little Mermaid, obviously, but it's not as heavy.
Yeah, it's more subtle.
Yeah. It's not as heavy as, say, the Art of Animation, but...
I actually kind of like that. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to staying in one of those rooms.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that.
Yeah.
It'll probably cause the price to go up some, but
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Caribbean is already like too expensive to me, like for what you get. But
like you won't be able to go last minute and find pirate rooms available. I don't think anymore, like you used to be able to.
Right.
You could always find a pirate room available.
Right. You used to. Yeah, they really added a lot to the price for the Skyliner, which sure it's convenient, but.
Well, I think some of that was demand because I think Caribbean Beach actually went up in popularity due to the station being there. But Skyliner's a factor.
Yeah, Skyliner could be a factor. I haven't stayed at Pop in a while because it's not been available a lot of the time.
Really? The price is pretty good on it still, or at least right now.
Yeah. It's still higher than All Stars or Coronado, to be honest. Like an outer building Coronado, you can get cheaper than Pop most of the time, at least from what I've seen lately.
Yeah, if you don't mind the walk, that's actually a good room though.
From what, Coronado?
Yeah, from the outer buildings.
Yeah, Coronado. I would take Coronado outer building any day.
But the outer buildings are fairly spacious, wouldn't you say? I mean,
I like them a lot. Yeah, those rooms are very nice. And now that you have 3 bridges connecting the resort, it doesn't feel like you're in a completely other resort from Gran Destino anymore.
Yeah. And when Adam stays there, he gets up in the middle of the night to go to the 3 Bridges bathroom when he has to walk that far.
I don't know if I could get in there for it, but yeah, that'd be amazing.
You're going to test it out next time you're there.
I love that bathroom, man. Best bathroom on property. I'll let you know next time I'm there if I can do that.
If you're like me, if you're going to go with a Disney resort, though, I like theming when it comes to my Disney resort most of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm prone to the more tropical, like I kind of like Animal Kingdom Lodge and Polynesian.
Yeah.
As far as themes go. Wilderness Lodge has a good theme in my opinion.
Yeah, I love Wilderness Lodge. I love Red Floridian too.
That I like. I don't know if the fact of the room we got the time we stayed there, it probably played heavily into why I liked this, but I enjoyed our yacht club stay.
Yeah. I love yacht club, boardwalk.
Man, those hallways at Yacht and Beach Club, they're like, you could drive a truck through those things, especially Beach Club. The
hallway? Where the rooms are.
Yeah, where the rooms are.
There's some big ones, yeah.
Like when we stayed at the Beach Club, the villas, good Lord, that's the biggest hallway I think I've seen of all the resorts.
Well, if you like big hallways, that's what you need to
That's where you go is Beach Club Villas.
Yeah.
But they got pretty spacious hallways at Yacht Club, too.
Yeah. The other thing I would say as far as resorts go is don't pick a resort solely on transportation.
No.
Because...
So in other words, don't pick a monorail resort.
Well, the moderates have, I guess, arguably the worst transportation aside from the All-Stars. I'd say the All-Stars has the absolute worst because the buses will be
it
the slowest. The bus stations at the resorts are not covered. They're
Depends on
the
what mod.
furthest.
I mean, think about it. If you're at French Quarter, you still have the boat for at least something.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think All Stars is the worst for transportation. But if you're driving your own car, it's not that bad.
Which why aren't you? Yeah. Or driving a rental, either one.
Yeah. I mean, if you're flying in and you don't have a rental car, All Stars is not a great option. I would go with like Coronado over that.
Or you could always get a minivan, but you would pay.
Pop would be better. Or Art of Animation.
You would pay dearly for a minivan.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're staying at All Stars, you're going to spend more on the minivan than you are your room going around.
I would say, though, as far as when you said resorts or really accommodations, I guess.
Yeah.
I have felt this way even a long time ago, that I can do well off property. And I have done well off property a couple of times.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
If you drive.
Yeah, and I've done an Airbnb that's 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away. I didn't love having to drive every day that far, I should say. I like being on property, but if you're staying with a big group, it makes way more sense to do that.
Yeah.
Because you'll get a much better price and you can stay all together.
Heck, you could be staying with 7 people and it still be a good deal.
Right. So that makes sense if you're going with a big group and you want to stay together and you like each other, then you should try an Airbnb most likely over a 3-bedroom villa, which you're going to pay like $1 million a night for. Unless you're renting points, even still, it's going to be expensive for
it really is.
A grand villa or a 2-bedroom even. It's going to be way more than an Airbnb. So,
or I tell you, another good option that is now apparently owned by Hilton is Mystic Dunes, which I didn't realize it because I found them in the Hilton app and I was like, oh, they own that. Oh, okay.
One of these days I should try staying at the Western Way hotels, those new ones. I haven't tried those yet. They don't get the same benefits, although I think, don't the benefits for like the Good Neighbor ones end, like the early entry and stuff, at the end of 2023?
Does it? I don't remember that.
I don't know. I'm not sure if they extend. But
I thought there was still an option for
maybe it is.
For select ones like before.
It is for now, but I don't know how far it goes into the future. But so always check that. But yeah, if you're going to get that early entry, that's a perk. It's not an amazing perk, but it is a perk.
Earlier when you were saying something about Best Western, I think, wasn't that the one that became Drury?
Oh, really?
I think
might be.
It became something else besides when they, like during 2020, they closed it and it got revamped. But I think that's the one that became Drury, but I could be wrong.
But yeah, the early entry, you get 30 extra minutes, but you get a head start on, like Hollywood Studios, you would get a head start on Rise of the Resistance if you don't want to buy a Lightning Lane for it and stuff like that. So
basically, if you want to stay on property for the perk of getting your first ride in before the rest of the park opens, that's about what you
basically.
That's about what you get.
Maybe 2, and you're right. It is Drury. It is Drury. I was trying to say that
Drury.
It's like trying to say brewery.
But yeah, that was the one that used to be Best Western.
That's right next to the old Welcome Center, the old Preview Center, I should say. Building.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Right. And like I said, the B Resort is there.
I've seen it.
There's a Holiday Inn never stayed. I've done both Hiltons in the DoubleTree.
Isn't the DoubleTree a Hilton?
Yes. But the DoubleTree is like the suites, right? As the bedroom and then a living room, whatever, kitchenette, stuff like that. Anyway, we've went way too long on that. So there's a lot of info there.
That happens.
Here's a short question. Are the dining plans worth it? No.
I'm going to say that's the short answer to me.
Short answer, no.
If you like just
Prepaying.
The fact that your meals have been prepaid for,
right,
then yes. But
if you love the cruises,
pretty much. I mean, I guess it's the only difference is in the cruises they don't make it's all you can eat all the time. It doesn't.
Right.
They don't make you like keep up with points, pretty much.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
one difference.
And you'll always end up with extra credits at the end because you're afraid you're going to use them all too quickly, and then you
Have too many left.
are too conservative, and then by the end you waste credits.
Basically, in the end, when they first started the Disney dining plan, it actually was a deal, right?
Yeah.
It was actually discounted to do it. And slowly over time, it pretty much just became essentially prepaid meals that you almost always lose on. Like Disney wins in the end because you leave something on the table.
House always wins.
Pretty much.
You play long enough, never change the stakes, the house takes you. Unless when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big. Then you take the house. I've been practicing that speech. Did I rush it? I felt like I rushed it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I personally don't like it because it adds another layer of stuff you have to keep track of all the time. And you have to do a lot more sit downs depending on which plan you get. If you get I think there's only 2 now. Or next year there's only 2, but I don't know. Too many planning. Too much.
I thought there was 3 and there was actually 4 originally. There was one other one.
Yeah, there's like deluxe, regular, and quick service or whatever. But I think there was only like regular and
there was also the Disney dining plan.
Yeah,
that's what it was called.
Potential drawbacks are it adds a little bit of extra complexity to an already overly complicated vacation in terms of keeping track of your credits, having to plan extra dining to make sure you use them.
The thing is, if you're not already committed to it, right? Like you haven't already done this. If you were just going to go on a regular vacation, the odds that you're going to spend the amount of money that you would spend by buying the dining plan is not very likely.
Right. Because the kids are not going to eat what you buy anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, that's all another topic.
I think if you're on the dining plan, you probably should do a lot of the family styles, truthfully. I don't know.
Maybe. You just got to plan to overeat. That's the other thing, too. You're going to have to overeat.
And I don't really like doing that anymore.
I don't either. That's my other thing. Because you get the appetizer, dessert, entree, and a non-alcoholic drink, right?
If I could just sample all the restaurants like I'm at Food and Wine, that would be great. But
yeah. Right. And then you have to think about, like, if you're using snack credits for Food and Wine Festival items, it's like, you're like, do you just get the most expensive one with the credit and then use the others for cash? You know, it's like, you have all these extra things to think about, and it's like, it's not worth it.
One thing for sure is there are more snack items that you get your money's worth on than others.
Right. Because there's definitely, I doubt you can get a snack credit for that Dom Perignon, what was it, $48 5-ounce pour at the new...
Oh, yeah, no.
I want to use a snack credit for that.
Well, I remember back on the old dining plan, like you could have, what was it there was like these barbecue fries or whatever it was at Flame Tree. That was a snack credit, and it was big enough you could use it for a meal if you wanted to.
Right.
Or I think it was the Nutella waffle sandwiches or whatever over at Sleepy Hollow. I think those were snack credits too.
Right. That's a nice big one. It's pros and cons. Like, just like everything, there's way too many layers to it to just have a simple answer. That's the problem with Disney. All right. This is another loaded question. What are the must-dos at each park? I mean, we could do what we think are the must-dos, but again, it depends on, do you have small kids? Are you just 2 adults going? Do you have older kids? Do you have, kids that are afraid of, intense stuff? Do you have, there's the list goes on. You have to kind of know what fits your family, but
right.
What would you go with?
At each park?
Yeah.
That we're doing?
Magic Kingdom. I think Tron's a must-do.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, I think it's a must-do because it's unique.
I mean, if we're talking to somebody who's never been, especially, I think there's a lot of things that are must-dos.
Yeah.
Space Mountain would be a must-do in that case, right?
Yeah. Space Mountain's classic.
People Mover, I think, would be a must-do.
Right, people. I would say Big Thunder, Haunted Mansion, Pirates. Those are all
Right.
must
Those are the
dos.
classic ones, right?
Yeah,
Gosh, I would even say something like Small World if you've never been there before, because that's a Disney classic.
yeah, yeah. If it's your first time ever at a Disney park, yeah, I think you have to at least
Yeah.
experience it. Mine train, hit or miss, but I think if you've not been there before,
I
you
think
should
it's
do
still
Mine Train.
popular, so.
Yeah, you should try to do it. But again, Tron, I would say buy the Lightning
Oh,
Lane.
Jungle Cruise. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I would say that's a must do. There's a lot more must dos at MK just because there's a lot more attractions.
yeah. But you can fit them all in a day.
Yeah, you can. And would we consider Carousel of Progress a must do just because it was Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress?
I mean, I wouldn't consider it a must do, but I think it depends on your. If you want to do like, and maybe that's something we should do too. Is like, if you want to experience like the classic Disney experience at Walt Disney World, what attractions, what things should you do? I mean,
Right.
People Mover, Carousel of Progress, those are two that stand out that you must do. Anything that's original too probably would be Country Bear Jamboree. It's another one you have to experience before they change it.
I was gonna say, or at least right now before it goes away.
Before they mess it up, most likely.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Is that how you truly feel?
I'm not going to chain myself to the building because they're going to keep the same characters, but I don't have a lot of confidence it's going to be better.
Right. You're cringing
at the moment. I guess. I mean, I think it'll be fine, but I'll probably still miss the original. But I've had the original for 50 years, so, well, not me personally, but.
Well, not exactly. I mean, I did change to the Vacation Hoedown for a little while.
Yeah. But for most of my memories, it's been basically the same. I mean, slightly shortened now, but anyway.
So maybe you could take comfort with the Hoedown in that if this doesn't work out, they'll change it back, right?
Right. Possible.
Not likely.
Yeah, they're not going to change it back. It'll be this, and then if it's not popular, they'll
use that as an excuse to axe it all together.
Exactly. They're like, well, no one likes us anymore, so I guess we'll close it.
Wow. You could be onto something.
Might be what they're doing, yeah. Anyway, if they have, do it. Anyway. Okay. Epcot, Guardians is a absolute must.
Yeah, Guardians is probably really high on the overall must list.
Yeah.
You need to experience
Test Track, hit or miss, I would say. But if you're, it's still really good, but I feel like I have to say it.
I would consider Spaceship Earth a must just because of its one. It's like the
classic.
Yeah.
So going back to that other discussion, Spaceship Earth, the land, I think you have to have those two for like a classic experience.
There's not too many musts at Epcot though.
I would put Ratatouille for now still, and Frozen. I would say those two are worth it.
Yeah. Well, we tend to do those not Ratatouille, we didn't this last time, but we tend to do those most times.
But you got to do lightning lanes, honestly, because even on slow days, I noticed, like today, for example, I was looking at wait times for Epcot, and Soarin' has really dipped, by the way. Really popular for a few days, and now that everyone's done it, it's like gone back down. But
well, yeah, everything's gonna take, anytime something comes back, it's got that initial hype, right?
Yeah, it does. So, but then Frozen and Ratatouille, Frozen was like 80 minutes, and then Ratatouille, I think, was like 75 or something. So those were the only two that were still like off the charts. Even Test Track was like 30 minutes.
Ratatouille was 75?
Yeah.
I found that hard to believe.
I bet because it broke down.
I just about had to have been.
Because it breaks down.
Because but it's Test Track? I mean, come on. That breaks down the most still.
Well, Test Track must have been having a good day today because when I saw it, it was 30 minutes. But yeah, Frozen was 80, and Ratatouille was like 75, I think. Yeah. So, Hollywood Studios, I guess we should do that. I mean, Rise is still worth it.
It's still
if you haven't been.
Slinky is a must.
Slinky.
Runaway Railway.
Yes, I would say Runaway Railway. I would say Smuggler's Run is worth it if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't done it before.
It's hard to say what's must over there because the park is so e-ticket heavy, as we've said before.
If you're a thrill seeker, you should definitely do Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster.
Exactly.
Shows, like if you really like shows, Hollywood Studios has got good ones. Yeah. Animal Kingdom, it's really just Flight of Passage, Everest, and the
And Everest.
Safari. I think
Maybe.
the Safari is a must. I love the Safari.
Well, until they do their overhaul, right? So
They're going to overhaul the Safari?
no, I'm talking about of Animal Kingdom with the Dino Land and all that good stuff.
Oh, yes. You mean until they add Indiana Jones?
Those are the only must until then.
Yeah, Indiana Jones would be a must, and then... Although if it breaks down all the time and the animatronics, they don't... Maybe they'll upkeep those better when it's Indiana Jones.
Well, it'll be all different, I'm sure. They can't reuse the same... I mean, they can reuse the track. That's about the only thing they can reuse, right? They can't reuse dinosaurs into the Indiana Jones.
You could make a really large Indiana Jones, like, come at you at the end.
That would be kind of scary.
It would be.
For some reason.
All right, so how do I make the most of Genie Plus?
That's an episode all in all of itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Short answer is buy it, before 7 a.m., book something at 7, and do what we talked about earlier. Either stack and go later in the day.
Right.
Or get there early and book as early as you can get something. And here's my thought is, so if you wanted to do Slinky really bad and you got on at 7 a.m. and couldn't get it until like noon, then I would say start stacking and don't go early, because you don't want to just sit there and not have anything to do for hours until your Slinky comes up or until you can book another one. That would be stacking. But if you get that early Slinky, or if you get an early something, show up early. As soon as you get in line for that thing, you pull another one and you modify it until you get what you want at the time you want, and just keep going.
Right.
That's what you
I would say there's a number of strategies you can use. You can, like we said, the stacking for the later in the day. I think you could actually start with just one attraction and go, and then either rope drop something, and then go to that one, or whenever the time slot hits, and then just choose something else and potentially modify it. You don't even have to use all, you know what I mean? You don't even have to do the stacking necessarily. You can actually just do one at a time in some cases.
Yeah. And one of the strategies we've done for Hollywood Studios, for example, because it's probably the toughest to get everything for the time you want it, is book something at 7 a.m., show up at the 8:30 or 8, whatever time for early entry. Get in early entry and go do Runaway Railway or Smuggler's Run or something like that.
Or
don't do
Rise.
Slinky because you're way too long. Don't do Rise because you'll probably wait too long unless you are the first on it.
Yeah.
Buy Rise separately and then go get on Smugglers or Runaway Railway.
I think personally the best Hollywood Studio strategy, though, without Genie Plus even, would be rope drop Slinky Dog. And then everything else, that order really doesn't matter. And then last hour, do Rise.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to stay there all day, get
or even leave and come back.
At the end. Yeah.
Or even leave and come back.
Yeah, if you don't want to pay the extra $20 per person or whatever it will be to do Rise, do it at the very end of the day is probably the best. Because everyone goes to Slinky or Rise at the early entry. And so if you're not in that first wave, rely on the lightning lane for Slinky. You can get it.
There's a way to navigate Epcot and Animal Kingdom without Genie Plus at all.
Epcot would be, you got to get a Guardians boarding group, and you either got to show up at the International Gateway, go to Ratatouille first, or you just rope test track at early entry, and then maybe, or Frozen, depends on how you do it. Really, it's those three that you need it for, and then as long as you get the Guardians boarding group, the rest, you probably, during the day at different points, you're not going to have a wait for Spaceship Earth, you're not going to have a wait for the land. Soarin' usually won't be too bad. It's going to be a slow loading anyway, so it won't be that bad.
You're basically not going to have any kind of a wait for Epcot West whatsoever.
Yeah, like Nemo.
There's like nothing that's going to, yeah.
Right.
Nemo and
A
anything,
Figment.
except for Soren maybe. The only other, I mean, Nemo, Living with the Land, and
Right.
Journey into Imagination, you're not going to have any problem getting into those.
Nope.
And even Mission Space on the other side, you're really not likely to have a problem getting into either. That likely.
Yeah. All right. So here's a question that's a little off that I haven't seen before. What's the difference between park hopper and standard tickets? I mean, that's a pretty simple question.
I think it's self-explanatory. Yeah.
Right. Park hopper is you can do more than one park in a day, but of course, it's currently restricted to 2 p.m.
I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think in most cases, a regular park hopper ticket is even worth it, given how much more it is than the regular ticket.
Right.
I mean, obviously the hopping comes along with, say, an annual pass or something like that, right?
Right.
As an option. Right. But going out of your way to buy a park hopper ticket with you only being able to hop after 2 o'clock, it's almost not even worth buying a park hopper ticket at all unless you're going to stay like 3 days and you decide to do 2 of them in one day.
Right. That's where I would say you should get a park hopper, is if you're trying to condense the 4 parks in like 2 or 3 days instead of 4 days.
Right.
If you only have 3 days, you could get park hopper and you could take advantage of, late hours at Hollywood Studios, or where you can get on rides at the end and you don't have to buy the lightning lane or something like that. But if you're really trying to push hard into them,
yeah. So once upon a time, though, the 3-day or 4-day non-park hopper ticket, like the price difference between that and the park hopper, were not quite as great as it is today. That's the issue.
It's a lot more now.
It's a lot more for just that hopping ability that
it's more restricted.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to hop until 2 p.m. So you're only going to get 1 a day at best.
Although technically 1:47 p.m. you can do it.
If you really want to push yourself, obviously with the challenge, you can get in all 4 parks in one day. But I mean,
yeah, you can do it. But it's like you're killing.
You're on
yourself
vacation. Why do you want to do it?
Yeah, why are you killing yourself on your family vacation?
Even back before, I very rarely hopped to more than 2 parks in a day.
Yeah. I like having the ability to do it, but I don't think I would pay extra for it if I didn't already have it on my ticket. So,
it's just, I don't know that that's really worth it now, to be honest with you, just because of how much more it is than the regular ticket.
Right. So, okay.
And we will be right back.
Teaching her how to drive. But Dad, why not use Greenlight to help her save for her own car? Mowing lawns and getting paid. She'll go from washing your car to flexing with her own. How? With Greenlight, the money app for families. Together, you can navigate the world of earning, saving, and investing. Because when you teach her to be smart about money, she'll go far. Invest in your best investment. Sign up today at greenlight.com.
And now, back to the show.
So there's that. This is a weird question. This is an AI question. How can I meet Disney characters?
Well, you could start by going to Disney.
Yeah. You have to go there.
Yeah. Maybe they're saying it's like some of the best ways to meet them, probably. So
yeah, I would think where to find them and the best times to meet and greet. If you like characters, there are some that have lightning lanes. So that's something to think about.
I personally think the best setting to do it is to do a character dinner or breakfast.
Yeah. Look on the app at characters and where they are. Because, for example, this is a news story. Winnie the Pooh is now back at the UK Pavilion at Epcot. At Christopher Robin's bedroom or something is where he's meeting. That's what it's at. Is where he's meeting again, which I think pre-COVID he was over there before. But if there's a character you really love, like Winnie the Pooh, for example, he's there, but he's also, isn't he still at Crystal Palace and over by the ride, Winnie the Pooh? So
I'm not sure about over by the ride, but he is in Crystal Palace.
Maybe he's only there for like Halloween party. It used to be the meet and greet over there by the ride. Anyway, my point is, look at the app. If there's a character like that you like, there could be multiple places to meet him.
Right.
And I think UK at Epcot is probably a little more secluded.
Probably.
So you could probably, wait less there.
Then again, it's new, so people that are finding out about it might affect that.
So you might need to wait a few weeks, and then it won't be as. But anyway, yeah.
Personally, I like to do it the dinners or the breakfasts.
I think character
is the
breakfast
best. Yeah,
is the best. Yeah. If you want to meet Mickey, for example, Topolino's or what is it, Chef Mickey's is the best. Those are the
Garden
best.
Grill.
Probably. Yeah,
Garden Grill.
That's right. He's there too. You don't have to wait in line. You're eating,
right,
and they come to you.
right. And in some cases, like Garden Grill, because of the size of the restaurant, they come by several times before you're done.
Right. Yeah. And I would say
So-
the character meets themselves, though. Like, so Magic Kingdom has the princesses you can get a lightning lane for.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey on Main Street you can get a lightning lane for. Those are worth it if if you really want to meet characters.
Right.
It's good to have where you can skip the line. Otherwise, I don't love character meets for that reason. In the
Right.
parks because you're waiting. And
Yeah, they have pretty long lines.
It
for the
can
most
be
part.
rough, yeah. I don't love character meets.
You spend a lot of time wasted at the parties, right?
Yeah. We've stood in line like for an hour for Moana that one time just because my son was like, he had to meet Moana. I'm like, this wasted a fifth of our party.
I think they should incorporate a Moana character like breakfast at Ohana now.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. You could still have Stitch, Moana, Mickey, and
You could just
Pluto,
combine
right?
the two.
Right.
I think you got to throw Maui in there, though.
Yeah, I would love to see Maui, Moana, Mickey, and Pluto or Goofy or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
I
Anyway.
guess you got to throw Mickey in there still, but then there's some character breakfasts, like say for instance the at Beach Club, what's it called again?
Cape May Cafe
Yeah, Cape May.
doesn't have Mickey.
Mickey's not even there. Yeah,
Yeah. I think you
It's
have
Minnie.
Minnie, Goofy, Donald, and Daisy.
and their
I believe it
beach
is.
attire. I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, you gotta have Mickey when you're in you gotta have Mickey character breakfast. That's just me.
Well, I think the only one that you get the Fab Five in is Chef Mickey's, right? I think
Yeah,
it's the
where
only
you
one.
get Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto.
Yeah.
Daisy? She do?
No,
No, it's just Mickey,
It's-
Goofy,
it's-
Donald,
Minnie.
Minnie. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
why I didn't say Minnie.
Mickey,
Pluto.
Minnie, Goofy, Donald, and Pluto.
Yeah, there you go.
That's considered to be the Fab Five.
Right. And that one, you get the 5 characters. Anytime you get 5 characters, that's a good deal.
Yeah. Except for the
right.
food.
Right, that's true. The food's, whatever.
And I think they do that on purpose.
Yes, and they churn you out of there, man. Their goal is to get you in and out within an hour at like Chef Mickey's for
Yeah.
sure. So you feel rushed. All right. Any age-specific tips for traveling with kids, teens, or seniors?
I'm assuming seniors, they don't mean the just graduated high school kind. They mean the
Yeah, I think if you're bringing your
Over-
grandparents. Well, I mean, there's a whole slew of things you can do with
toddlers at Disney, for sure.
toddlers and seniors, like Carousel of Progress we're talking about, Country Bear Jamboree, Tiki Room.
Yeah,
all those are
this could
like,
be considered, yeah, I guess you could say
Yeah.
that.
and there's something for everyone.
Depends on what their tastes are. They might enjoy some things at Epcot.
Yeah, exactly. And there's bars and lounges if they're into that they can hang out in.
Or
if they need
depending,
some time.
that might factor into what resort you choose as well, because some of those might be more friendly for if they want to stay at the resort more.
Yeah, we've said this before, but if you have babies or toddlers, utilize the baby care centers at all the parks. Figure out where they
Yeah.
are, learn where they are. They're
Well,
great.
the thing is, you can have let's just say 6 to 8 months old
Mhm.
can ride a lot of stuff at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Not
I
that
took-
they'll remember it, but I mean,
Right.
they can at least go on it.
I took my son when he was 6 weeks old. Yeah, you can ride Small World. You can ride, Peter Pan, stuff like that.
What's interesting? I have a photo of my dad holding me as a pretty young kid, maybe even a baby, on Speedway, right?
Yeah.
And I'm asleep. Whereas now they have like a height restriction on Speedway. Like, you have to be so tall just to even ride on it. I can't remember what it is, but I was like, there's no way I it made that height restriction in that photo. So they didn't have it back then, obviously. So
interesting.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That came along later.
And like swimming in the Seven Seas Lagoon, like with gators, like you used to could do that.
Well, I don't know about swimming with gators, but I assume they were still around.
Right. Anyway, lots of things have changed. Any tips that you have for experiencing Disney on a budget? What was some cost savings?
Well, I've done some that I would consider more budget-friendly trips. One of them would involve staying off property, once again.
Yep.
Utilizing things like Airbnbs that are close enough that it doesn't take you long to get there, and you get usually more space for less money.
Yep.
Things like that. Staying at some of the hotels you mentioned earlier, those would be all budget saving.
Using the strategies we talked about for not buying Genie Plus, but using like the late time walking on Rise of the Resistance at the end of the day, or Slinky Dog, doing.
You can do it without having to use Genie Plus necessarily.
Rope dropping the most popular stuff so you don't have to wait as long.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And you might have to spend a little more time waiting in line in some cases without Genie Plus, but we're talking about saving money, right? So that will definitely save you money.
And I would say bring food, because Disney doesn't really care. Disney doesn't care if you bring your own food in your backpack or whatever.
Well, here's another thing. Staying at something like an Airbnb, you could also get groceries, and you can also cook for yourself.
Cook your own meals. But if you're going to spend a good amount of time in the park, bring sandwiches, bring snacks, refill your water bottle.
Yeah.
At the quick service places, you can get free water. There's bottle refills all around, stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Quick service meals are not that expensive.
Right. I was about to say, you don't necessarily have to. And there's some table services that are cheaper than others.
Yeah. There's actually a few that are pretty good priced.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the quick service use mobile order. I was going to say that. Don't buy alcohol. It's going to be way overpriced. But stuff like that. Okay, I shouldn't say
bring your own alcohol,
because
it's like bring your water. Bring your water bottles full of vodka. I mean,
I will say I've had people. I have not done it myself, and I don't endorse it, but people do it because I've heard stories of where people have done that. Because if you bring a water bottle,
nobody checks it.
They don't open and smell it. Like they just, But again, you could get banned if they find it. So I'm not endorsing that, but
especially if it's Magic Kingdom. No.
Right. You could do it, but I don't endorse. I don't recommend you do that, but if that's something you have to do to save money, you could do that.
And if you're that bad off, you might want to consider checking into a rehab facility.
Right. If you can't go a day without any booze whatsoever, you might have other issues. But
yeah. So, just saying.
Yeah, but there's definitely ways you can do it. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, but you can utilize Disney's transportation because they have free, the buses are free to use.
That's true.
You will wait longer, but, you don't have to use Uber or rent a car necessarily.
Well, I would say another thing, we actually kind of mentioned it earlier with the resorts. The outer buildings at Coronado are usually at a better price.
Yeah.
All-Stars, just a budget, right?
I would say if you book a room, keep checking too, because Disney could release a new deal on a room, or a cheaper room could become available. So keep checking.
I personally think if you want something that's kind of like the best of both worlds, if you want Skyliner, Pop's going to be your best budget, personally, because it's going to be.
You think a mermaid room? I mean, maybe they'd probably be about the same.
A mermaid room would be less, but I don't think it's as good of a deal because of the distance you have to walk to get to the Skyliner versus some of the rooms at Pop, unless you're in the 90s.
Yeah, good point. You could be in the 90s.
If you're in the 90s, really most all other buildings have rooms. Even the 50s has some rooms.
Yeah.
That are not that bad to the Skyliner.
Yeah, not bad.
So,
also, here's another. If you're on a budget and you have friends who are annual pass holders, they can get you discounts on merch if they go with you.
Right.
They can get you discounts on some dining,
If
potentially.
they're riding in the same
Very
vehicle with
small.
you, they can get you in parking for free.
Right. And I was going to also say PhotoPass. If
Yeah.
they have PhotoPass on there, you don't have to buy a PhotoPass, and they can send you the pictures if they're connected to you on the app. So there's little things like that you can save some money, because PhotoPass is very expensive if you buy it on your own. But if you are connected to somebody who has PhotoPass, you can send them their photos.
I was going to say it's an extra cost for APs now, right? So
It is, yeah. I only added to mine, but I don't need to add it to everybody's, right? I mean,
Right.
it's kind of useless, but okay. Okay, here's a good one. What should I pack for a day at the parks? Like, what do you usually pack when you go? You have small kids too, or smallish. Like, they're getting older, but you have kids.
yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of things that I pack for them per se. There's a few little like items that I think we've used in the past that I think are pretty good, like these fans, like the neck fans that help keep you cool.
Yep.
Put around their necks and ours as well. Sometimes I've actually got one of these things. You can look it up. It's like a chili frog tog. It's a towel that you can actually soak in ice or whatever, and they stay cool for a long period of time. You can put those around your neck because, as you may know, keeping your neck cool actually helps keep your body cool.
Right.
Especially for hot days or so stuff
Disney,
like that.
I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking about, but Disney does sell those, and I bought the Disney version of those as well, where you just wet it and you can like kind of wring it out and just shake it and it gets cooler.
Yeah.
Those are really good. Depends on the time of the year. If it's in the summer,
Right.
I would highly recommend doing that.
Something I did not too long ago, if you're, say, staying in a Airbnb or a place where you have a freezer, you can actually freeze the bottle of water you plan on taking and put them in one of your coolers. And,
That's helpful.
throughout the day, it's actually going to melt just down enough where you can drink it and it'll still be cold, right?
Right.
So,
because that's one thing is like on a hot day, you don't really want to drink hot water
if you can help.
warm water, but it's,
But I know we had one of those little bags that came with the stroller we rented from Kingdom Strollers.
Yeah.
And we could fit like 6 water bottles in there. And I actually put that many in the freezer the night before, and they were totally frozen solid. Threw them in that cooler. And by the time we opened to do it, it was still pretty much frozen, but it had melted some of it down enough to get some drinks out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And as the day went on, of course, it got a lot more melted.
Yeah.
But there was still ice in it when it was all said and done, so it stayed relatively cold. It was still ice cold until they were gone.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, if you have a stroller, utilize it for storage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best thing about having a stroller with you.
A day pack or a backpack is probably going to be a good thing.
Nice. I usually carry a small backpack. I'll keep a few snacks for the kids in case, or for myself if I get hangry. A water bottle at least.
Someone like myself, I carry camera equipment, but fortunately I have more compact size stuff nowadays.
Also, I think an essential thing right now, especially if you're Genie Plusing it, is a battery, a charger for your phone, like a portable phone charger. I think it's essential these days.
Depends on how good your battery is, how good your phone battery is.
But I think between all of us, like, we need a charge at some point during the day, especially if you're lightning laning and modding and dining and all that stuff. You're gonna wear your phone out regardless.
Yeah, you could actually probably there. And nowadays, there's a lot of places where you can plug in. So if you just bring your charger with you, if you're gonna wait for a minute and charge, get some charge. For free is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a portable charger. Of course, there are fuel rod stations, but again, that's going to cost.
That's going to cost you something.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Good stuff.
So anyway, outside of the usual stuff, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything.
Depending on the day, I always check the forecast. I'll bring an umbrella if there's rain in the forecast. Poncho depending on if I'm going to do Kali or something.
Yeah.
Or, depends on the day.
Poncho. I don't need no stinking poncho.
Well, poncho's for my wife, but
Kali anyway.
Yeah, I don't.
We do carry them for rain.
Yeah, if there's heavy rain in the forecast and I have ponchos, I'll bring it for that.
Or like you're there during a tropical storm.
Right. Could happen. Okay, here's another good question. These are actually pretty good. What special events or seasonal festivals are worth attending?
It depends on who you ask.
Yeah. Well, again, it depends on
Or-
your preferences. If you like food.
Right. And the thing is, they all have a little bit of a difference to them now, but they're also kind of similar now because there's food at all of them now.
Yeah.
At Epcot. Anyway,
Right,
that's the only place that has festivals.
But I would say seasonal events like, the Christmas party, Halloween party.
Right.
I would say the Halloween party is more of a party, and the Christmas is more of like just, if you're really into Christmas, you're going to really love the Christmas party.
Yeah.
Which I still think I prefer the Christmas party just because I love Christmas more than Halloween. That's just me.
I used to say the other way around, but I would agree with you now.
Yeah. But I will say the Halloween party is more of a party. So if you love like the fun and the dressing up and, your kids will love the candy and the music, it's way more of like a party event.
Right.
But the Christmas party to me is just the love of like Christmas and the Christmas music and the lights and the snow and the festive mood it puts you in. That's, I think it's worth it. But again, it depends on you.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of personal preference involved in some of this.
But you have to know.
Well, you were mentioning those. I was going to say, if you're a runner, there's the marathons and half marathons at the beginning.
I'm
of the
actually
year.
considering doing one.
Really?
There's a friend of mine that's like trying to like, let's do one. Like, I'm like, okay. But it'll probably be 2025 before, or maybe late next year before we can even, because they sell out so fast.
Yeah.
But I would love to. I think it would be cool, actually. It'd be fun. So I'm thinking about it.
It would be interesting.
Yeah. So a Run Disney event would be fun.
And that's usually a wintertime thing. I can't imagine why.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Good Lord.
It's not like it's hot there or anything.
Yeah. Run Disney in July would be brutal.
That's pretty much just like see who can survive.
Yeah.
See who does.
Iron Man. Maybe it's
like the winner is the guy who doesn't die.
Yeah.
Or someone who doesn't die.
So let's try to get through these last two. There's two more questions.
Okay.
How do transportation options work within the resort? Give an overview of the transportations.
Well, you've got your basic. There's really, 4 basic modes, right? So you got monorail, Skyliner, watercraft, and bus. Is not the base. Or you can throw in a minivan, I guess.
Yeah, I would say minivan and or, just vehicle like Lyft or Uber you can still do. So,
right. Those you can do. They're technically not Disney, though.
But I would say monorail, bus, boat, Skyliner, and car. Whether it's your own car or minivan or Uber, Lyft.
But as far as Disney, like free transportation, it's bus, monorail, Skyliner, and water taxi.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we're talking just that, monorail only goes to the Magic Kingdom resorts and the Magic Kingdom and Ticket Center, of course, Transportation Ticket Center and Epcot. So if you're not staying at one of those resorts, you may not even need to use the monorail.
Right.
Skyliner is, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and some resorts in between. So again, it's a great way to park hop. Or if you're staying at one of those resorts, it's a great way to get to those 2 parks.
Right.
Other resorts, it's a bus, potentially a boat to get some places.
Well, and depending on where you're staying, in some cases, walking is an option to some parks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the Epcot resorts, you can walk to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, technically.
And the Grand or Contemporary. Technically, the Poly you could walk from on the one side, but it'd be a long walk. But
it's a very long walk, but you could do it.
You'd have to walk all the way to the Grand, then all the way to...
Yeah.
Because you can't go the other way. You can't go the other way. It's the thing.
Yeah. I wish they would open that up. Maybe if they ever build a resort on that.
I think it's because you have to cross the road.
Yeah, you can't and go under the water. Like you can't.
Right.
You technically could walk it, I guess, but you probably get hit by a bus at some point or something.
It's not the safest route.
Yeah, not a good idea. There's no sidewalk. Very dangerous.
Yeah. The safest route really is the Grand side, though, because it doesn't cross any roads.
Yeah.
Even the contemporary one crosses a little bit of a road. Right? And they cross that Ames Road.
You do, but I mean, goes across walk and everything. There's,
right.
It's not that dangerous.
No, but I just meant you cross a road, whereas the other way you don't cross one at all.
Correct. Yeah. Although technically now with all the construction at Poly, if you're walking from Polynesian, you have to cross a road and cross the road again to get to the Grand Floridian. But anyway, they're all free. They just take forever. Skyliner probably is the fastest, as long as it doesn't stop too much. Monorail is pretty quick, assuming it's running smoothly.
Right.
But it usually is a lot of people, so you usually have to wait on it.
Oh, I was going to say a quick little tip for the monorail. I have a tendency to find that, like, when you're getting on the monorail, if you pretty much just go, like, you see, there's always a certain way people have a tendency to go, like a side they have a tendency to go to. Yeah. Just do the opposite, pretty much,
Go against the grain. Yeah, if you see a bunch, like at the Magic Kingdom one.
You just go left all the way down.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
People just kind of hover, it just depends. Like, if you see a bunch of people going one way, just go the other. Yeah, I agree.
What it is because people, after going up that incline, they don't want to go any further anyway.
Yeah.
They want to take the shortest route. Because if you go right there, it's actually a shorter line, right? Even if you want to go toward the front.
Yeah,
if you take the left and go pretty much all the way down, the likelihood you're going to find a car that's not too full or even empty in some cases is more likely.
Right.
Kind of the same way if you're at Poly. Of course, you all line up on the right side at Poly, but I feel like at Poly you kind of, because you exit on the left side if you're facing it, right? They exit from that side. So really, the Poly, probably the best thing is to stay as close to the middle if you possibly can. So that way you can just go left whenever it comes time to get on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can walk all the way down that way.
Right.
So.
Right. Go against the grain. That's a good tip, though, in general. Is like, if you see a ton of people doing something, there's probably a shorter way if you do the opposite of what they're doing. Yeah. Sometimes.
True. It's true with the parks, too, right? So
yeah,
like everybody has a tendency now. Of course, the flows seem to change, but everybody has a tendency now. If you're going in Epcot, right, they gravitate to the left. You could go right if you wanted to,
right,
and start with something like Soarin'. At Magic Kingdom, it still seems to be that the typical is to go to Tomorrowland first, whereas you could just head toward Adventureland first, right?
Yeah, I would say if you go all the way back to like Big Thunder, you could probably do it first, and then Pirates and stuff like that, but.
The least crowded entrance I've seen ever at Magic Kingdom was to go to the hub but head toward Liberty Square, because like nobody goes that way.
Right. Yeah. And then from Liberty Square you could go Haunted Mansion or hit Peter Pan.
You could potentially,
up that way.
Yeah.
Jason and I did that once where we roped drop Peter Pan.
Yeah. Hollywood Studios, everybody just goes to one of two places, really.
Right. Either go to Slinky or
Rise.
Rise
That's what happens.
Which is why a lot of times I will go hit Railway first, because it's right in the middle, and everyone literally goes one or the other and just goes straight to Chinese Theater.
In Animal Kingdom, it's always left that people go to first.
Yes, Pandora. So if you go to Dinosaur in Everest, you won't wait at all.
You will have nothing.
Yeah, there's nobody walk back there.
You might even be the only person riding in some cases.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go there first, yeah. All right, last question. Are there any non-park activities or experiences I should consider?
Well, there's plenty of I don't know, does water parks count as non-park?
Well, yeah, non-theme park. Yeah, I'd say, water parks. The mini golf is fun if you want something fun to do. Disney Springs, I think, is worth some time. Lots of good stuff to do there.
Yeah, the mini golf was a good option I was going to mention.
Regular golf, like if you like golf.
This is
true. Actually reasonably priced. I keep looking at them like, it's actually really not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a bucket list thing. I need to play golf there at least once.
Yeah, for sure.
And apparently, from what we've heard, the Buena Vista course is the best one to play.
OBV, yeah. That's the best. And someone was showing me too, like the pro shop. Like if you like polos, that's the best place to buy Disney polos is the pro shop at LBV, which is essentially Saratoga Springs. The pro shop there, you get all kinds of stuff. So,
and LBV is the one that has some holes that go through Old Key West, right?
Mm-hmm. Old Key West, Saratoga, very nice. Treehouse Villas, technically close by. What else?
Depending on what resort you're at, you might find some pretty fun activities that they do during the day around the pool as well.
Yeah, resort hopping is a fun thing to do. Especially at like Christmas time, you get the resorts. You can see all the different Christmas trees they have, or Christmas displays. Grand Floridian always has something during the holidays. Easter, they have all the Easter egg things at Grand Floridian. They have the big gingerbread house during Christmas. You know, stuff like that. It's just fun to do if you have a free day or a non-park day, stuff to do. Electric water pageant's a great thing to do. Some of the bars and lounges that are not in the parks, like Dahlia Lounge, Bar Riva. You know, the boardwalk has a lot of stuff you can do.
That's true.
Stuff like that. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. There's more than you can do in a single trip, that's for sure. All right. Well, I think we've more than covered that. That was actually a pretty good list of questions there that AI came up with.
I would agree.
So it can do it.
I guess so. We're just going to let AI do this show from now on, pretty much.
Well, I mean, it's probably overdue that we kind of did one of these shows where we talked to the folks who would be, you know, who haven't been in a while or who are planning to go and wanting to kind of get a refresher on some tips and advice on what to do and where to go and things like that.
Yeah, we probably need to do one a little more in-depth on trip planning here soon.
Yeah. Speaking of trip planning, I'll have a trip report coming up because I'm going. So we'll see next week about that probably. Well, as you're listening to this, I'm already back, but yeah, this particular week. So yeah.
Sounds good to me. So, if you would like to find us otherwise, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's all at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store in which you can get your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. And we also have a YouTube channel, which haven't put any videos up here in a while, but maybe I can get a few on there here soon. Where can you find that and other things, Adam?
Our website, which is travelingwiththemouse.com. And you can email us podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com. We also have a travel agent friend that is listed on our website if you need assistance in your next Disney trip booking.
So, for Adam, my name is John, and this has been Traveling with a Mouse, and we hope you will join us on our next trip.
Bye. I haven't done that one in a while.